Hi, my name is Kindred Howard, and I am the founder and lead coach for Family Upward Marriage, Parent, and Family Life Coaching. I want to start by saying thanks for visiting our website, and want to invite you just to kind of go through the different pages of the website, learn a little bit more about us, and see if Family Upward is something that can be of service to you. What Family Upward is a for-profit business that's devoted to helping families by strengthening marriages and helping couples improve their parenting skills if they have kids. We use a biblically based method to help parents come up with practical ways and focus on important principles that can help them in strengthening their marriage relationships and bringing about the positive changes they want to see in their kids. Now, do we work with families that don't hold to a Judeo-Christian belief? Sure we do. We're happy to do that because the principles that we apply and the truths we talk about are universal, and they've proven effective for generations, even if we're not making direct reference to the Bible as we talk about them and help couples apply them to their particular situation. I want to take just a few minutes during this video to tell you a little bit more about me and why I founded Family Upward, and also in order to describe for you some of the key differences between coaching and traditional counseling or family therapy. I also want to close out by just hitting on a few of the main principles we often talk about with families and find are common areas that are good to talk about with couples and parents as we help them strengthen their family relationships. First of all, a little bit more about me. I have been married to my beautiful wife, Meredith, for going on 14 years now. She's still my best friend. She's still the person I love most in the world. I always tell her there's no one that can make me madder and there's no one that can make me happier than her. I still love being with her, and to this day, there's still not a smile on the face of the earth that can compare to hers. Together, Meredith and I are raising 5 beautiful children, our daughter Emerson, and then 4 boys, William, age 5, Carson, who's age 3, and then we have 9-month-old twins, Samuel and Asher. So we know a little bit about parenting, have learned some normally from the School of Hard Knocks about parenting just from raising our 5 kids. As I said, being married for 14 years rather, there have been highs and lows. There's been times when Meredith and I have zigged when we should have zagged. We have faced different challenges in life. Some we brought on ourselves, others due to circumstances totally beyond our control. And just like you, I'm sure we've had days where we have felt totally in love and like everything was going great. And then there have been other days that have been more challenging and other times that have been more challenging. My wife, if she were honest, would probably tell you that there are and hopefully still have been and hopefully still are days where she feels like I'm her Prince Charming. But she'd probably also tell you that there have been days where she has thought hypothetically about how she might kill me and successfully elude the authorities. By the same token, there certainly have been and still are days where I feel very much in love with Meredith and blessed to still be married to my best friend. But then there have been times where I have occasionally thought maybe it would have been better if God had just let Adam keep his rib. In short, we're a typical couple. We aren't perfect. We don't have all the answers from on high. We're not marriage and parenting gurus, but I think it's the fact that I have a typical marriage that gives me a lot of that helps me a lot as a marriage coach, because I'm talking to you as someone who's actually walked the path, who knows what it's like to go through those daily struggles and frustrations, and it gives a lot of, actually helps a lot when I'm dealing with other couples because I can identify with them. Also, as I mentioned, we're raising 5 kids, which means a couple things. Number one, it means that I've had Barney the Dinosaur's I Love You, You Love Me song ringing in my ears for about 8 years now. But it also means that I've had a front row to experience all the challenges and ups and downs that come with parenthood, just like you. Kids are amazing. My wife and I love being parents. We love raising our 5 children, but we understand how difficult and trying it can be sometimes. One minute your kids are doing something that convince you they must be angels sent straight from heaven with no other purpose than to make your life awesome, and the next they do something that reminds you why you now consider The Exorcist an instructional video. It just ranges back and forth. But again, it helps me when working with parents to be able to identify with what they're going through and help them deal with those issues that they come across. I am not a licensed counselor or a licensed therapist. What I bring to the table when working with families is over 10 years of experience as a full-time minister counseling couples on their marriages, couples who are about to become married or wanting to get married, and working with parents on issues that they're dealing with their children. So that's how those are my credentials as I come to the table in working with families on their different marriage and parenting issues. Also, I'm a published author who has written numerous articles on the topics of parenting and marriage, and also just finished my first book on marriage and parenting. Most recently, I've been certified as a professional parent coach under the direct tutelage of Dr. John Roseman. And some of you may have actually heard of John. He's actually a best-selling author, one of the nation's foremost acknowledged experts on parenting, and is a widely read syndicated columnist. So there you go. Those are just a few things about me and why I founded Family Upward, because of my passion for families that come from the fact that I have a family and care very deeply for them. How does coaching differ from traditional counseling or therapy? Well, traditional marriage or family therapy tends to look backwards. In other words, it's looking back into your past to find deep psychological issues or reasons that have why you may feel or act the way you do now. Whereas coaching is more about looking forward. We're not looking at deep psychological issues or getting into those areas. What we're doing is looking at what are your goals and aspirations for your marriage and your children today, and how do we move forward? What principles can we look at and apply? What practicals can we apply to help you move forward and achieve those goals? So again, it's more about looking forward and applying practical principles than it is looking at deep psychological issues. Is there a time for psychological counseling or therapy? Certainly there is. But my experience has taught me that most marriages don't need deep psychological theory in order to be improved upon, in order to grow more intimate. In the same way, most parenting issues don't require deep psychological therapy in order to bring about a positive behavioral change or attitude change in your kids. Most of the time, you just need someone who's a trusted advisor you can talk to, who will listen, who will help redirect you back to some key principles and areas you need to think about and focus on as you move forward, and then can offer some practical suggestions that have been proven to help as you apply strategies to try and improve your family relationships. Finally, let me just briefly hit on 4 areas that we often end up talking about with families in one form or another. It differentiates from family to family because obviously individuals and families are different. But there are some key areas that tend to come up again and again. First of all is the need to listen. We do a lot of listening because if we don't understand the issues you're dealing with, we can't understand and help you with the problems that you're facing in your marriage or with your kids. So we do a lot of listening, and a lot of times we end up helping you prioritize. If you're dealing with only 1 or 2 issues that are difficulty, then it's pretty easy. You know what to target and we know what we want to work on. But sometimes you might have a lot of issues. Maybe you're dealing with a lot of things in your marriage, or a lot of things with your kids, or maybe you're dealing with a lot of both. So we help you prioritize and figure out, hey, we can only eat an elephant one bite at a time here. Let's not set ourselves up to lose by trying to tackle everything and getting frustrated when nothing works. Let's prioritize, figure out what we want to hit on first, and then come up with a plan that can step by step help improve your marriage and or your parenting, your relationship with your kids. So that's the first thing. We do a lot of listening. The second thing is we talk about the definition of love. I know that sounds cheesy, but the truth of the matter is love is a very misunderstood concept. People define it differently. You know, when we talk about I love my spouse or I love my kids, what are we really saying? The fact of the matter is love does not have a subjective definition. That's part of the problem. Many people are defining love their own way and then trying to proceed according to that definition and wondering why things aren't working very well. The fact of the matter is love has an objective definition. We try to help parents and couples focus in on what that definition is and then come up with practical approaches for how do we mold our actions, how do we mold our decisions towards the actual definition of love and applying that as we move forward in our marriage and in our parenting. So that's the second thing we do. The third thing we do is we help you focus in on and look at your role as a spouse or as a parent. Are you really focusing on the right thing? Are you really defining your role the way you should, and are you embracing that role? And then finally, the fourth thing we do, and this is a big one, we help individuals distinguish between what they can and cannot control. The bottom line is that a lot of the frustrations that come up in our family relationships arise because we spend way too much time thinking about what we can't control and worrying about what we cannot control, and not nearly enough time focusing on what we can control. We help couples, husbands, wives, we help parents distinguish between what they can control and what they cannot control, so that we can help them focus on the right things, the things over which they actually hold some sway and have some say-so. And the great thing about this is, once you start focusing on what you can control rather than worrying about what you can't, it relieves a lot of the stress, anxiety, and frustration you're feeling in your marriage or with your kids, even before you see any behavioral change whatsoever in your spouse or your children. So that, in a nutshell, is just a brief description, a little bit about me, a little bit about Family Upward, and a little bit about how we go about approaching trying to coach couples and parents and help them with their family relationships. Please feel free to contact us if you think we can be of any help, if you'd be interested in a private marriage or parent coaching session or a group session. Also, I love public speaking. I'd love to come and speak to your church, speak to your synagogue, speak to your PTA, any other kind of community or family-based organization. I'd love to come and speak to your subdivision. A lot of subdivisions and communities now have clubhouses and HOAs that organize events. I'm sure people in your neighborhood would love a presentation geared around marriage and parenting. Again, my name is Kendrick Howard. Thanks again for watching this video. Feel free to look through our website, and thanks again for considering Family Upward. We hope you'll contact us if we could be of service.